Hello, hello, hello. Let me quickly tweet this out. This should work. Oop. There we go. Nice. How are you guys doing? Everyone doing all right? Let me know if everything's working. Desktop, audio and everything should be working, I think. But yeah, all good. Nice. Always good to see. Yeah, don't think we need to waste too much time. So we'll get straight into it. But before we do, shout out to FTX for sponsoring the show. They have the best mobile trading app around, in my opinion anyway. Links to them are in the description if you want to check it out. There's no leverage, so you can't get liquidated, which is why I like to recommend it to people. You can also swap your assets back and forth however you like. It's kind of nice. I like it. I think it's one of the easiest recommendations to people to give, because you can't do too much stupid shit there, which is always good because people always find good ways to get themselves liquidated no matter what you do or tell them to. So yeah, there you go. We're heading into news, my friends. We're heading into news. The ETH merge is upon us, and the markets look like garbage. Complete and utter dog shit, in my opinion anyway. Bitcoin looks crap. ETH looks crap. ETH looks kind of okay-ish still, but everything else looks complete garbage. So we'll talk about it. We can go over a few altcoins as well, see how that goes, and then do whatever you guys want me to, as long as it's PG-13, I guess. You still holding your ETH? No, I'm not. I sold that. Sold my ETH, sold my Bitcoin, sold my Solana, sold my Atom. Pretty happy with that decision on all fronts, basically. Still have like a little bit of ETH. I still have, I think, 2 Bored Apes lying around somewhere that I cannot sell because no one wants to buy it from me. But so that's like a little bit of ETH, but not too much more, I think. So pretty slim on the exposure side of things. Can I have your apes? Nah. Sorry, brother. Hey Don, how's your break? I'm not taking a break. I'm back from break. I was on a break for an entire month. I've been back for like 14 days already. I'm a little bit insulted that you couldn't notice, but or that you couldn't tell, but it is what it is. So yeah, let's go over. Oh no, before we kind of go into this, because I got a lot of comments on. I think Friday's show, I was pretty bullish on things. Like Fred and I talked about things, and I was like, oh yeah, I think it's all going to go up, and it did for a while, right? So like that show we recorded in the early morning, and I mean Friday was when the 11th, I think, right? So we recorded on the 11th. It went up, like Bitcoin went up like almost 10%, and then it dumped. So yeah, on that show, like I was pretty bullish. And then I changed my tune on Saturday and Sunday, tweeted as much. So yeah, for the people that only watch the streams, I'm sorry. Opinions change, I guess. But I tweeted about it, so you could have just checked on Twitter. I tweeted about it 4 times. And shit went down ever since. Looks kind of rough. Looks very rough right now even. So yeah, let's talk about it. Monthly, still in the middle of nowhere. I still think that like anything below 14k is completely insane. Like if you're expecting 12k, 10k, whatever, I don't think that's ever going to happen. If anything, worst comes to worst, I think like a wick to 14k. That's the one thing that I could see. I don't think we're going to spend any time there. If we go there, and if you're expecting like 10k and like sub 10k, I think you might as well take it to 0, because at those kind of prices, the stuff just keeps on liquidating itself and exchanges break and all that kind of stuff. But not in the good way, in a bad way. So I don't think that's gonna happen. If I did, I'd be out. But yeah, there you go. Monthly really doesn't help us much, but When you go to the weekly, that does help us a little bit. It's going to be interesting how this merge thing plays out, basically. Like, everyone's watching the merge. The thing is, macro, and we'll talk about this in a second, like the S&P looks absolutely garbage. So even if the merge goes well, which I kind of feel like it should, we're going to have to, it's going to be an uphill battle, right? So it's going to be hard for ETH/USD to go up. Even if ETH/BTC goes up, which wouldn't surprise me one bit, ETH/USD going up is going to be quite difficult because the macro situation is just kind of crap. That said, we did bounce from support. We talked about this the entirety of last week and the week before. Closed that support, bounced from it, right? And closed above resistance. So technically speaking, just ignoring everything else, you'd want to be buying below this and hoping that we close back above it if you wanted to buy. For me, it's not good enough. I'm just going to sit this one out, right? So this is going to be one of the ones where I'm going to be like, okay, I want bullish confirmation or I want a dump, right? I want another like big dump where stuff like where people just get liquidated and stuff breaks, but not catastrophically breaks, but just like a little bit. But I don't want, I just don't want to be buying like here. Don't really feel it. Like either that or bullish confirmation, which would be honestly at this point the macro situation changing for the better. And I've made jokes about the macro stuff, but that's because I've just been TAing him. And every time people talk about macro, they're saying it adds support. And then every time they stop talking about it, it's because we're at resistance, right? So, yeah. But yeah, so the weekly kind of looks rough. You want to see a close above 20.7K. At that point, it looks a little bit better, but still kind of shitty. Does remind me of 6K, where you had like support. You had support. Tested over and over and over again. At some point, it's going to fail, right? So I could see this bounce a couple times and then ultimately fail. But yeah, I don't really have a strong view. I'm just kind of happy that I made money in this shitty market because I basically bought 20K and still made like 60%, 70% on ETH and made like almost 40% on Atom. Made a little bit on Bitcoin, like 10%-ish, 10-15%, and like 30% on Solana, a little bit more. So like I'm quite happy with those results. So like that's been kind of the focus. Just take whatever you're given and then dip, and that's kind of what I've been doing. And that's what I want to keep doing, especially when the market looks like this, right? I'm not too excited to take fresh positions. Let's put it that way. I think any money that I've taken is basically out trading other people. There's no new fresh money coming in. There's nothing. It's just me trading against other people on CT, other people in the markets. And that is quite tough to do, right? As stupid as that sounds, right? The retail folk that kind of made us go completely crazy. And I know that we're all retail, but like the newer folks that pump Dogecoin and stuff, trading against them is much easier. Or trading with them even is much easier than trading here, where you're trading against pretty good people. They know what the fuck they're doing most of the time anyway. And even if they don't, liquidity is so shit that you can actually get trapped pretty easily. So not really too excited to do anything. That's Bitcoin, right? So like low time frames, like the weekly looks okay-ish, but not that good. The daily looks absolutely shit. Got rejected at resistance, failed the trend line, right back at the support that we've tested a billion times. This is something that I will never buy, right? If we go break down here and then come back up, I mean, maybe at that point, but right now, definitely not interested at all. That just looks bearish to me. And this could be like the macro bottom where we just range it in this thing, right? And just go sideways. But who cares, right? You don't have to catch the macro bottom. You just have to take good trades. And the moment this is like confirmed as a bottom, you're gonna know, right? So if this goes sideways in here and then starts breaking above 28 into 30K, into 35K, then you're gonna know. And then you can take more trades. And then the people that pump Dogecoin to 100x are gonna come back, and you can take money from them or make money with them and then just sell, and they're never gonna sell, right? Like that's the kind of market conditions you want to be trading in. This is pretty tough. And sometimes I see opportunity like I did 3 months ago. Jesus, time flies, right? How long is it now? I think it's 2 months, 3 months. Yeah, it's 3 months now. 3 months ago, I saw an opportunity, took it, got rewarded, but that's not always going to be the case. Don't you need to fill on indicators for price to pump? Nah, I don't think that's going to help. I don't want to ruin the strategy by going too early. Does you selling mean that you're targeting new lows? No, it just means that my setups are like either went to target or just took too long to play out, right? So we talked about Bitcoin. Let's talk about ETH because that's the one that I more actively traded. I was like, okay, ETH reached monthly support. I want to take it to monthly resistance, right? That was my setup. We hit monthly support. We bounced pretty strongly, went all the way to 2K. My resistance was 2.2, so almost, but not quite. I was away on vacation anyway. I left when we were breaking out. I came back on this pullback, right? So I was like, I'm going to look for a place to like either sell or for this to kind of confirm that it's bullish. And it was running into this resistance, right? And this is one of the reasons why I changed my mind. We were running into this resistance on the weekend, and you saw ETH kind of struggling to keep up. Sorry about that. And it's a logical place for a lower high as well, right? So this was a logical place for a higher low. This is a logical place for a lower high. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to sell into this resistance. Just makes sense to me. I front ran it a little bit because I know that other people are watching the same thing, and that turned out to be quite a nice trade. So bought 1K, took it all the way to 2K, wasn't home to sell it. Probably wouldn't have sold it anyway, because in rallies, right, when you get like these rallies and you're in it, I don't necessarily want to sell like the Pico top, because what often happens is you sell and either keeps on running, right, and then you're fucked because where the fuck do you rebuy? Or it pulls back and then actually like gives you a much clearer signal, like a lower high to sell into, or just keeps on going, right? Like oftentimes you have several impulses. So like if it's strong, I don't necessarily need to sell the first impulse. I can try to sell either the lower high or on the next one. So that's what I was looking for anyway. Don't think I would have necessarily sold 2K, not entirely sure if I was home. But I got to sell 175, so that's close enough to me. And now basically we're in the situation where it's neither bullish nor bearish, because we have a higher low in play that could be confirmed if we break 2K, and we have a lower high in play that could be confirmed if we start breaking 1.4. So either of these, like this is just, there's nothing to be done here, in my opinion. The ETH merge is going to come around, and then there's going to be even more fuckery, right? I think there's going to be a bunch of people looking to sell the news or like sell the merge, and then there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to try to squeeze basically the shorts, and it's going to be wild. So I don't want to participate at all. I'm just going to let people play it out. So to answer kind of the title of the stream, Moon or Doom, I think like looking at Bitcoin, I think it's all going to go down. Whether ETH is going to join the party or not, I'm not entirely sure. And the reason why I think Bitcoin is going to go down is just because we've tested the support a couple times. It looks shit, and the S&P looks complete garbage, right? This is something that I've analyzed on this channel for months now. I was like, okay, we closed that monthly support, it's gonna go up to monthly resistance. It did, and it got rejected at monthly resistance, and then it went all the way down. And at some point I was like, okay, it's at weekly support now, we should get a bounce, right? And this has been really nice. The S&P trading has been really good. I was like, okay, we're at support now, probably gonna go to resistance, but after the resistance test, and this is the second reason why I sold my stuff, because we're rallying into like this resistance end of Friday, and was pretty sure we'd reach it by Monday, right? So like when markets open, I was like, okay, this is probably gonna go towards resistance, and I don't want to be in the trade anymore. So I was like, more than plenty of reasons to actually get out. And now we're in this shitty situation where you have a support that gets tested a couple times back to back to back. And this is not confidence inspiring on the S&P. It's not something I would want to be buying again. This could just turn into range, but I never buy like support tests when it tests the support, it bounces, and the next candle just comes back to that support. I usually don't trade these on the bullish side of things. Same with resistance, right? You have like a resistance, you test the resistance, you fall back down, and the next candle goes straight back. That usually means that it wants to go. And the same thing here, though, just wants to break through. And if it breaks through here, where do we go, right? The next weekly support is like all the way down at like 3.4 to 3.3k, which is quite a bit away. And the monthly support has been tested before, right? And the next monthly support is at like 3.4, 3.5 to 3.3 as well. So this is kind of like confluent between time frames. This we've tested before, so I'm not gonna buy it again. So like looking at this, just not confident enough. So I'm just gonna sit out. Laughing my ass off, you make it sound so simple, easy. I mean, it's been that easy. It's just been like you just had to follow the right markets, right? The S&P has been dictating this a little bit. Funnily enough, with TA, I've seen a bunch of people kind of make fun of people using TA on this thing. But I think the market is so volatile and so crazy right now that people just don't know what the fuck else to do. So everyone's trading this, and I'm not gonna go against it. It's been working wonders for me. So like for me, when am I gonna buy Bitcoin and ETH again, right? Probably when the S&P is down here. And yeah, as sad as that sounds. And we could go up, we could go down in the meantime, but like looking at this monthly chart, there's nothing for me to do. And I tried my best. I bought 22k, I bought a shitload at 18k, got like a 20k average, it went up. But couldn't manage to go all the way. So I tried my best to hold this up. Not like my buying would make much of a difference, but I bought a bunch at the lows. I bought ETH. ETH obviously paid me better, but yeah, when Bitcoin looks like this, there's not that much to do. You're stuck making the price dump with a stream? Nah. This is just merge stuff. People are wisely like, you see like a big event like the merge coming in, right? And the market looks like shit. People are just gonna de-risk. Just makes sense. It does look like zero is incoming. I mean, I hope not. Still have a bunch of money in the market. Still have, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to see it go to zero. That'd be kind of sad. Still have plans with it all. Hold on, Don. Are you saying TA works? Like a little bit, yeah. It depends on the circumstances, obviously, but in chaotic times and in markets where people don't know how to value them, I think it does. Am I watching up only, or why are we dumping? I mean, it's not that bad. A little bit. I started the stream and the flow fell out. But like these situations, like these kind of breakouts, whenever it looks like garbage like this, you usually get these second legs. And then people are watching basically whether it can reclaim. So like a bunch of early longs got fucked just now. And then everyone is watching. It's the same that happened here basically. So you have like these breakdowns. And then everyone's watching, okay, is there actually strength in the market? You also see it on the low time frames, right? So this looks very similar to this. Right? You can see like you have this like impulse candle to the downside, you have a bounce, you have like this bleeding fashion here, and then you just wipe out below the wicks. Right? This is something that you're gonna see over and over and over again. Doesn't mean it has to go up, but yeah, these kind of patterns you see all the time on the low time frames. I don't trade them anymore, so like don't really have to like value my opinion on this too highly. But like in general, like this is not a big move. It's just a few $100. Just feels like a big move because yeah, a few $100 at these prices are actually starting to become like percentage wise significant. But yeah, that's that. Like the S&P looks shit, Bitcoin looks shit, ETH looks okay, but I mean, we're going into the merge, so people are gonna try to sell the news. Whether they kind of manage to or not, we'll see. Price wise, right, where would I want to be buying? Because we talked about how shit everything is. Where would I want to be buying? Bitcoin, if it completely wipes out, I'm going to be buying at 14k again, like for a wick. If we completely wipe out, 14k is where I want to be buying. I don't think it goes that far, most likely. This is kind of where I just go all in again, or almost all in. So like risk like 70-80% of my net worth like an idiot, just to make more. But yeah, this is where buy big if we do happen to kind of go there. If not, like I'm looking at like the 16-17k area, but I wouldn't buy big there. So like big buying 14k until then. Like if we don't hit this, I just want to look at the S&P and see it actually just find like a bottom and actually look stronger. But yeah, that's for Bitcoin, right? And for ETH, like there's a few things that interest me. I think like 800 to like 1,100, if everything goes to shit, like all this support is still relevant. So I'm going to be looking at that. But for me, the merge play is kind of done. We've had it with like it's coming, and the news pump is going to be pretty much like that was that. The question is it gonna like stick? And that I do not know. We're gonna have to wait and see afterwards. So like I'm gonna look at the support and see if we're gonna show any strength there, if we go there. If not, like we could go straight up from here, right? But I don't really care. I'm in it to trade it, not necessarily to have the best position at like the lowest price. Obviously that's nice. That's why I bought. That's why I bought like the lows, and like I mean I bought 1.2k. And I bought pretty much the Pico low on ETH, kind of averaged it to a nice number, got like an average of 1,000. And that's nice when it plays out, right? But I'm not going to do that like a couple times. Like this is only, this kind of trading when I buy blindly without like seeing if the support's going to hold or anything. I only do when shit hits the fan, and like Bitcoin going back to 18k. And ETH going back to 1k wouldn't feel like shit hitting the fan to me anymore. I miss Doomadon. I mean, Doomadon's always gonna be around. No worries. I hope I'm wrong. And there's a way that this could be wrong, right? In basically like if Bitcoin starts closing above this, then it starts looking so much better. But the good thing is like I'm not shorting, right? I would never short this. This 20k is still cycle support, right? So I would not short this. It's just me saying I took this market for a spin. I made some money, got lucky, and got out. And I'm willing to do it again, but the market has to look better at that point. So yeah, we talked about Bitcoin. We talked about ETH. ETH BTC is an interesting spot. Looks really, really good still. I've seen a bunch of like Bitcoin maxis make fun of this. This looks really good, right? There's nothing to make fun of on this chart. The only thing that you should be worried about is obviously the merge, sell the news event, but it doesn't really look like it wants to sell the news to me. It just looks like it wants to keep going up. So ETH relative to Bitcoin kind of does look okay. If you're only trading pairs, you've been making a killing on ETH, I really don't see a problem with it. But if you're trading USD, obviously not that fun. The 28k-ish target not met yet. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my targets weren't met. But I gave it like 3 months and it didn't go all the way. And then I'm going to take profits, right? Like I'm never gonna be stubborn and say, okay, my target. Like for example, for ETH, like my target was, I think I said 1.8k. We got there, and I'm never gonna be like, okay, I said 1.8k. We're at 1.8k, so I have to 100% sell. It's just not how it works. I ended up selling 1.75, so that's pretty much 1.8. But even on like the other way around, I don't have to sell if I see strength, right? And I'm definitely not gonna hold if I see weakness. So yeah, that's that. I think it's pretty simple right now. Like there's only one advice to give. That's why it's simple, and that's just give it some time. Unless you want to gamble into the merge, which is fair, right? I think in general, like gambling in crypto like has like a bad rep. But if you're gambling addicted and go to the casino and sit in front of a slot machine, might as well just fucking all in crypto, and pray to the gods, because it's pretty much the same thing with better odds, right? And there's at least a chance to make it big, whereas in the casino there's not, or very little. So I don't know. Do whatever you want to do, but for me, the sidelines is the place to be, because analyzing this is just fucking impossible. With regards to other coins, right? I traded Atom, pretty nice. I bought it like on a lower time frame retest, right? So like I bought it at 11.7 basically at that kind of dump, and got to sell it at 16. So like that was a pretty good trade. We talked about it, I think, on the stream. Not entirely sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like for people that watched the stream like 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, whenever that was, I'm pretty sure we talked about it, and that was pretty much like still at the lows or pretty close to it. That was pretty nice trade. I still think it's an interesting one. It's just one that I'm gonna give some time, right? Because it was up only, and then we had this short squeeze to top it all off. Yeah, don't really have to be in a rush to get back into it, but it's one that I will keep on watching. Same with Atom BTC, right? So basically, we had this pullback. This is where I bought. We had this pullback to support. I bought it, exploded, and then went down against BTC again. But it's basically just a giant range, right? And the fact that it made its way back to the top of the range is pretty bullish, but I could see it pull back into this area, right? So this entire area is support in my eyes. I could easily see it pull back there, which which would be an interesting buy again. It's actually kind of cool. Like I talked about this low time frame setup, and the bulls are trying. The bulls are trying. I like it. Yeah, fingers crossed they can maintain this. But yeah, Atom, it's an interesting one. This is a one to keep an eye on. But you see this kind of bleed out, it's not like I'm not going to be rebuying anytime soon. Solana, right? Also an interesting trade. We talked about it last week as well, or 2 weeks ago. It made its way all the way back to support and then went back up again. But I told you like the same thing with Bitcoin, right? The reason why I don't like Bitcoin is basically when you have weekly support and you just do this. Yeah, you're probably going to get a bounce, but it's probably going to make a lower high and then just keep on bouncing, and then it's eventually break. So for Solana, I'm looking at like $14, like the next nearest support. Can't barely see it on non-log chart, but this area basically. So it slowed down and it accelerated. That's where I'm looking for with Solana. Doesn't have to get there, but yeah, I don't really care too much. If it doesn't and it keeps on going up, that's cool. If it does go there, I'm gonna be interested in a position. It's the same. Like I shat on Solana the entire way down, right? And then I was like, Solana's the greatest thing at support, and this is how it goes. And now that we're back at support, but we've tested it before, I'm gonna say like not my cup of tea. And then if we go back to this support, I'm gonna say Solana's the greatest thing on the planet again. It's just how my brain works. How old are you? The upper end of 20. I'm starting to think crypto is a scam. How long have you been around? I think like anything beyond 2 or 3 years, you haven't realized that like 99% of this stuff is a scam. You've been having too much of the Kool-Aid, basically. So yeah, that's that. Talked about Solana, talked about Adam. Litecoin's been showing strength. Really interesting on the stump, basically. I like to see that. Would be an interesting one to have a position in as well, but yeah, it's pretty tough on the USD pair as well. And this is the kind of thing, right? Everything looks okay on the Bitcoin pairs, and everything looks like shit on the USD pairs. And maybe we just have to wipe out the USD pairs again and then buy, because the Bitcoin pairs are really good. Don, are you also just curious to see who's waiting at 14 to 16K? Kind of feels like it would be nice clarity point on crypto relative to stocks. I mean, yes, I'm not really curious who's waiting there because I kind of know. But it would obviously be interesting to see us trading there. Would be a really good opportunity again. But that's like very, very close to levels where it's really bad, right? So interested, yeah. It's gonna be fun trade if we go there, but it's also really, really bad if we go there. Like unless the S&P mega nukes, we really cannot go there. We cannot afford to. I think that's why 20K has been like so strong, because a bunch of people are like, this is already pretty bad. Might need to like support this market a little bit. If they fail, the next support level is around 14K. And at that point, if that is like a solo crypto move, it's gonna be a really, really bad look. Your thoughts on ETC? I mean, if you're still holding it now, I haven't even looked at the chart, but the merge is basically on like, it's just around the corner. If you're still holding it, what the fuck are you doing in my eyes? Like this is, I don't, like this is clearly a merge play, right? And you wait. I mean, if you want to, you could wait till the merge is over, but I would never risk it. Like this is, the trade's done. You had your fun. I don't really see a point. Like you could see like a Bitcoin Cash-esque pump going into the merge, but you could also just see this go all the way back down again. For me, there's no trade to be had anymore on the ETC front. Why do you think Sam no longer likes Sol? Who said that? But I mean, they have like, he has other projects now, basically. Did he say he doesn't like Sol? I don't know. Probably not. But there's other projects that he has his eyes on now. Well, it seems like it anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the ETC trade anymore. Was a really good one. Merge makes a lot of sense. Wish I like had another bag. I had some more stupid plays. Like I bought a bunch of NFTs, basically plus minus zero in USD, even though ETH went up 70%, 60%, whatever. Which is pretty damn stupid. But then again, like that's, you just play. Like NFTs are just for fun, in my opinion, so it's like not the worst in the world. But yeah, could have put that money into like a shitcoin just for fun as well. I should have probably. Would have made quite a bit of money, but it is what it is. This is why you don't have fun in markets. Why do people make statements like that to just stir up stuff all of the time? He never said that. Yeah, I mean, would have been very surprised if he did. Yeah, other than that, we've got we've have like a few outliers again, and this is kind of funny, right? You look at all of these Bitcoin pairs, my trusty old Bitcoin pairs, and you're like, holy shit, it's not that bad looking, right? Dogecoin is bouncing from support, like all of this link is bouncing from support. Solana, BTC kind of looks like a higher low, right? Still looks strong. Atom, like, yeah, I was like, maybe this pulls back, but this looks really strong, right? So it's kind of, it's an odd market right now where the Bitcoin pairs look excellent, the USD pairs just look like shit. And I usually try to trade these things when both align, right? You don't want to be trading the Bitcoin pairs and then get shit on. Like you have like your USD and you see like a bullish setup on the Bitcoin pair, and then you buy the coin and you get shit on because Bitcoin goes down, right? It's not fun. I don't think anyone that's done that has enjoyed it greatly. People usually hate it. What I try to do is, like, I see a bullish USD pair, I see a bullish Bitcoin pair, and I'm like, maybe even the S&P looks at like it's at support, and you're like, on this I can pull the trigger, right? When you have the USD pair look like shit, and sorry to say, but for most of these coins they do. Yeah, like even Solana looks like shit to me on the USD pair. Like this is just like a pitiful bounce, and then you get a retrace. Then yeah, it's not really the market to trade, because then you're basically like, you want to be bullish the old Bitcoin pair, right? So you have old BTC, and that's bullish, right? So yay, that goes up, but you lose money on the old USD pair anyway. And that's, at the end of the day, for most of us who measure against USD, especially in bear markets, this is something that I've always maintained. I've had this discussion basically ever since early 2017, right? In bull markets, if you're trading altcoins, what you want to be doing is increasing, like trading altcoins to increase your Bitcoin, right? In bear markets, what you want to be doing is you want to be stacking USD, obviously, right? At some point, you want to reverse this, but like your goal with altcoin trading shouldn't necessarily be, okay, I want to make more Bitcoin, because you make more Bitcoin by being out of the market in a bear market, right? Like Bitcoin going from 60K to 20K, if you weren't in the market, like it's going to be hard to find an altcoin that triples against Bitcoin in that time, right? And even if you do, like if you weren't in the market, you would have probably outperformed that guy, right? So like during bear markets, you want to be like focused on the USD value, during bull markets on the Bitcoin value, obviously, because like if Bitcoin goes up and you win on this, so your altcoin goes up more than Bitcoin, you basically, your Bitcoin goes up, your altcoin goes up, you make a shitload of money. But when you have the situation that we have right now, where you make money against Bitcoin, but Bitcoin goes down, you basically, I mean, you have to pick the right altcoin, because some altcoins are actually underperforming Bitcoin still, and then you still don't make any money, right? So that kind of like, it's not really the way to trade. It's going to change at some point, but right now, not really good. Damn, big old Head and Shoulders in the making. Does kind of look like it, right? How funny would it be if it went all the way back to $4? I was memeing it there about the Head and Shoulders. I actually really like these setups where you have like a giant Head and Shoulders and you hit support for the first time, and people are like, okay, it's gonna go to 0, and you just play the shoulder basically, as in like from support to resistance, and that's usually like in crypto like a double, and then you get out when people get euphoric again. With Solana, I was hoping for more. I got lucky in this one. This is me being lucky, because I wouldn't have sold this if Cred didn't tell me like to lighten up, basically. So that's not on me. That's on him. And that turned out to be an excellent decision, right? So cannot claim cloud for that one. All cloud, like my buy, all cloud on that buy goes to me, but all cloud on the sell goes to him. So pretty cool. It's good to have friends sometimes. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Don, what is your opinion on the difference between this price action with the 2018 bottom? If we now see the slow crawl up, wouldn't that be quite similar to 3 to 4K range? I've been thinking about it, but I don't really see it. Let me remove this. So look at this. Basically what happened was You made a low. You had an impulse, and you retested low, and then you just walked up, right? Like but you retested basically the high of that. So like this candle, right? This lowest candle. It's basically like price was sitting in the upper half of the box, right? Never got close to the closest down here. Just was sitting there. And I mean, this I was like very, very bullish on. Right now I'm not as much. Because what you can see basically, the difference here is that one, like look at it. This is very, very close. Like this is, you see that there's buying there because it doesn't penetrate the support as deep. And definitely didn't close as deep, right? This one pretty much closed the exact same way the first time. And in this instance, what you do is like you dip into the support. So basically what we had here, and then you go up and you never look back. And in this case, even if like you could have made this argument 2-3 weeks ago, and then we went up, but like this dip right now, if it doesn't get bought up into the weekend, I would not compare these two, because basically what would have to happen is this gets engulfed and then it keeps on walking up like this, which would be fine. Like at that point, I'd obviously change my tune, right? If we have like a really, really strong end to this week and the S&P for some miraculous reason looks a little bit better, then maybe, but it's not good enough for me. Obviously you could argue, okay, this is going to be the same thing. I wouldn't necessarily like fault you for it or say like this is completely ridiculous. I've actually looked at this the same way you just did and was thinking about it. Like, is this the same? It feels very, very different to me. And like I said, I was very bullish down here. I was basically net worth all in down here. And I'm net worth all out here. So yeah. But I mean, like I said, you just look at this, you see strength, you see weakness, you kind of make up your own mind, right? You don't copy trade me on this. If you feel like this is the same, trade it that way. Do you play your swing trades these days with spot or perps? I'm just trading spot. I want to get a real update on the cow situation. I mean, I just bought a cow, dude. I have a cow. I don't know what to do with it. It's just gonna stay at the farm that I bought it at for now. That's what we agreed upon. You got an old duck? Maybe. But I don't know. I don't need to do like the crazy shit anymore that I used to do, because I started with nothing, right? So like I started with $500 down in this range basically, and yeah. If I just traded Bitcoin, or if I didn't trade it, just held it, couldn't have made a living with that, right? Just 1 or 2 Bitcoin would have been a nice return, but pretty glad that I decided to trade it and kind of push money around and been decently successful. But yeah, didn't have much money on the way up. Made like quite a bit on Bitcoin and altcoins. Didn't lose. Made quite a bit on the next move, and like it keeps on stacking up, while price slowly comes up as well. But yeah, I don't know. If I'm getting old, it's a good getting old. Damn, Don, didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, I grew up really poor. I've actually saw someone comment on like a weekly open, that like I'm the spoiled brat in the trio. And what people don't know is that I grew up pretty much as poor as you can be in Germany, from government support, raised by a single mom. I mean, I didn't have much, but yeah, if you time it right and if you get lucky, and I mean, I would definitely say that I got really lucky, can make something out of that. So yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't say spoiled. Maybe I'm spoiled now. Maybe I've turned into spoiled brat in the last few years. Definitely possible. But yeah, that's that. Someone asked for the euro dollar, I guess. or for the Dixie. I don't know. Dixie, like I don't want to make any calls. It just looks bullish to me. Don't really pays to anticipate this stopping anytime soon. Probably will, honestly, like looking at this, probably will. Kind of feels the same as it used to. So basically it goes, and then at some point it's just going to be up, down only again. But who the fuck knows? It's not my market to trade. And Euro USD, I mean, basically looks like absolute dog shit. Still, I don't really see a reason to be too bullish on this. There's no solid analysis that I can make. If people start to freak the fuck out that the euro is going to zero, I'm gonna push all this stable coins that I have in dollar into euro, and I think that would kind of start happening at 0.9 maybe, like around these lows. So if that happens, I'm gonna buy more euro, but there's really not that much I can say about it. Gross, make it go away. Yeah, I agree. Looks completely dog shit. Doug, have you streamed with your girlfriend nearby nowadays? Yes, I have. She has actually walked in a couple times now. Not today though. But yeah, that's that. Any other questions? Let me see. Where are you from in Germany? I'd rather not say, but I grew up in the southern parts. So yeah, thoughts on Bitcoin dominance? Oh god, I hate this chart so much. Is there any chart I hate more? The answer is no. This is always going to trend towards zero because there's stable coins in this, right? So, and I think stable coins are going to take over crypto for better or worse. You're gonna see stable coins be as big, if not bigger than, like, I think like Bitcoin and ETH are probably gonna be overtaken by stable coins market cap wise at some point. The longer crypto sticks around, the more powerful stable coins are going to become, right? And that makes Bitcoin dominance pretty useless because you have stable coins, they go up. It doesn't really, like the market cap of stable coins goes up means shit for your coins, right? You can have any kind of coin. The market cap of a stable coin going up isn't going to help you. So this is always going to, like, this is the trend, right? This is going to continue on this chart, not only because, okay, this is a trend, so you should follow the trend, but in general because there's stable coins in it and they're going to overtake. And there's more and more altcoins in general, right? So you have inflation on the amount of coins, right? You don't have, like, a lot of these coins have inflation inbuilt, which is kind of funny because, like, you have crypto to combat, like, all of the inflation, all of that shit. And then you have coins that have, like, 5%, 10% inflation built in. And then you also have coin inflation, which means, like, 5 years ago, you had, like, 1,000 coins. Now, if you go, and this is not even accurate, but let me quickly open this up. So 5 years ago, this number was like at 1,000, and it's 20,000 now. So you have 20,000 or 21,000 cryptos nowadays, and that's gonna go to 50. That's gonna go to 100,000, and then all that money just dilutes and dilutes. Obviously, right? The more you have, the worse it gets. And the bear markets obviously wipe projects out and they kind of disappear, but it keeps on going like that, right? So, for example, if you trade 2017 and you made a bunch of money and you're bullish on crypto and your favorite coin back in 2017 was NEO, for example, right? Maybe you buy it again. It's not going to really help the crypto market go up. Back in the day, like if you bought Bitcoin, like Bitcoin is going to go up, more eyes, people are going to buy Bitcoin and other stuff. Nowadays, like people come back and buy their shit down the list and doesn't really have any impact on anything, right? Someone else just dumps on you basically and takes their profit in USD or spends it like on operating costs, right? like the foundations dump on you, everyone dumps on you basically. And this is gonna only keep on growing, right? So you have more coins that go into this index, so it's gonna go down always. So I think like this chart is pretty meaningless in general. Support or resistance wise, I wouldn't draw anything on it. It's at support if you wanna like argue that, but it's also at a support that's been tested so many times that like maybe this is the time where it breaks down, right? Who knows? But I don't think Bitcoin dominance chart is too necessary. Hey Doug, who taught you to trade and know about finance? Was it self-taught or university? It was self-taught. I don't really know shit about finance. I just think about it and try to make sense. Sometimes I don't and still get lucky. Sometimes I do and don't get lucky, just how it is. But yeah, with regards to trading, right, you can read as many books as you want to. If you don't go and do it, it's going to be useless. So put like a tiny amount of money on an account, trade a little bit, see how that goes. After like 3 months, you're going to start understanding things, right? And you're going to be wondering, okay, I'm trading on this exchange. What the fuck does this mean? What does that mean? And then you kind of look into it, and then you understand more. And then you try again and you lose an extra $100. And like, why the fuck did this happen? And then you kind of think about it and you just keep on getting better and better. For me, I got pretty lucky because I basically started doing this full time at the start of a ginormous bull market. And that made it easier. So like for me, it was just like, I was looking for, okay, relative strength, right? I was looking for what coin is going to make me richer than this one, because I know like whatever I hold, I'm going to make money, right? Like that was the vibe back then. Like I don't, like it doesn't really matter what I buy, I'm going to make money, but how do I maximize it? That was the vibe back in 2016, 17. Nowadays it's a little bit different, right? Right now it's like, where the fuck do I not lose all my money? Which is fair. It's a bear market, but so I got lucky in that front. But yeah, you keep on learning basically. Like I've seen a bunch of people like try to like read like 10 books before they even start. And then, yeah, you might read it, but you're not going to understand it, right? Like trade a little bit, do it for a couple of months. Try to kind of pick up stuff on the side. Like if you're just trading and you're not like interested in what you're actually doing, you're not going to learn anything. But like try to pick up like bits and pieces on the side. And then maybe start like reading your books or whatever you want to, because then that's going to be much, much more like accessible to your brain, because then you're actually going to understand what the fuck it's about. Even if you don't understand the words, if you've done it a little bit, it makes more sense to you. And then it's going to come easier, because it's like just a very, very foreign concept, right? This trading business, because yeah, all this number stuff doesn't really go well with most humans. Takes a while. Don is a graduate of Limerick Boyne University. Yep, basically. But it's not only like there's a lot. Like for example, with me selling 175 for ETH, right? There's not really a line there. I was like, okay, this is there is kind of line there, but still. I was like, okay, I see the S&P, I see all of this kind of stuff, and it just added up in my head. And then I told Cred that I was feeling like people were getting too excited about the merge trade. They were like not excited enough at like below 1,000 or into 1,000 or even at 1.2K, and then got too excited into the merge trade. And I was like, okay, this is why I'm selling. Could end up being like we have the merge and then it's just V reverses out and it's a bad sell, right? But then again, like if you have like a pretty nice buy, like in the low thousands, and you sell 1.7, you're never gonna complain, even if it goes to 3K. As a trader, as like an investor, that's not something you want to be doing, right? Like if you want to be investing, you can buy and hold. But yeah, long-winded answer with like a little bit of a jerk off myself kind of thing on top of me saying, I bought the bottom, which is always useless. Always fun to do though. I love it. But yeah, it is what it is. Just trade basically, and it's not only just the lines. It's not only only just the feeling, it's all of it combined. And you're gonna figure it out eventually, or not. And if you don't figure it out, it's okay. Not everyone is gonna do this shit for a living. So much of it takes appears to come from past experiences with the market. Is that true? You're able to see confluence. Is that part of your system checklist? Yes, that's basically where the instinct comes from, right? The longer you kind of spend trading a market, the more clear your instinct is going to be. You're not necessarily going to be able to tell every single time why you're feeling the way you are, but it's going to be more and more accurate. But yeah. Hey Dawn, at least on my feed, you were the only one who pressed the gas at the bottom. What were you looking at that made you buy spot at the Pico bottom, if you don't mind me asking? I think even the newsletter had a specific mention about your bullet thoughts with Fred not agreeing. Well, the thing is, right, like at the bottom, basically we had this massive collapse and we're running into a into the cycle high of 2017, 2018, right? So I knew like 20K was an area of interest, right? And you just look at the market and you're kind of like, okay, how aggressive is this of like a sell-off? And when can I actually start deploying? Because every time crypto almost goes to zero, it's bounced, right? I could have gotten wrecked and this went to zero and I would have just lost what I put in. But that's the risk that you always take, right? The risk is the same down here that it goes to zero than it is up here, right? Like that's what people assume that the risk is higher when it's just a straight line down. But like buying down here is much less risky than buying up here every time. It's just that it makes you feel more secure, right? Other people have been buying, but in a bear market, when you have this bounce already, that's like probably where these people that have bought here are already gonna sell, right? But yeah, I knew that 20K was gonna be an area of interest, and I mean, I bought basically around 20K because I wanted to buy 20K, and then it dipped, and this was on a weekend, like the dip towards the low was on a weekend, and this for Bitcoin, right, is much clearer on ETH. So we go to ETH, we have this dip on the weekend, right? And whenever you have these, there's an area of interest, like area of support, area of interest in general, and then you have these kind of dips on the weekends. That's usually where you want to look closer. And the reason why I bought down here was just like I was seeing people get liquidated, and I knew that like this was too low. At some point it's too low, but this is like a more feel thing than anything. So I just bought more, and then I mean that worked out pretty well. It's not always gonna work out, right? There's gonna be a time where I buy, and then like let's say I buy here and then it goes down here, but I'm always willing, like I bought down here and I was willing to cut this thing if I needed to. But yeah, at some point like ETH goes from 5K, right, all the way down pretty much in a straight line. Like look at this pretty much almost a straight line from 4.8 all the way down to like 900. Like at some point it's enough. The thing is, the same, like we're in this situation now where we don't have this backdrop anymore, right? Like we don't have this, okay, Bitcoin just went 70% down, where do I buy? Because now it went down 70% and it's consolidating, and it's consolidated for a while, so there could be more fuel for it to actually drive it lower. So I'm not as confident now in that same level holding. So like I think the risk right now, like buying right now, is like 10 times higher than it was when I was buying. I was just like the risk is pretty low that this goes to zero. If it's gonna bounce, it's gonna bounce here, and I'm more than willing to risk that. Now I'm like, okay, the risk of it going to zero is still very low, but the risk of it like wiping out the lows and stuff is too high for me to take the trade. But yeah, it's pretty hard to explain. You can watch the streams that I did back then and then look for my reasoning, because it's always hard to talk about your past reasoning. But the good thing is like all of this stuff is recorded, so you can look back. and memories change, which is really funny, right? Like if you kind of like look back on what you used to do, and you kind of recount it like 10 times, it changes a little bit every time, just based on like you tell it a little bit different, and that keeps on adding up. It's really interesting, especially like when you talk about childhood with your childhood friends or something, and you talked about it like with other people like 10 times. At some point, you're gonna have like a little bit of a different story. Like it's still gonna be the same kind of direction, but it's gonna be a little bit different. It's the same like me talking about my reasoning why I bought like back then, because I mean, I talked about it so much that who knows. Still like the same, like it's obviously still like these reasons, but I mean, who the fuck knows? Like I'm not entirely sure what I talked about back then. Do you still have the Bored Ape Yacht Club that you bought in June? Yeah, I still have it. Trying to sell it, but no one wants to buy it. Yeah, I remember the streams and recall about you fading the 2-0 callers and the Solana whale getting liquidated. Yeah, exactly. Like that's still gonna be like one to one. Like the main thing is still gonna be the same, but the details are gonna be different in everyone's memory, which is nice to like. Why it's nice to have these kind of videos to look back on it if you want to. But yeah, that's that. I think it's enough for today. Um, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you folks. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, big shout out to FTX for sponsoring the show. Their links are in the description. You should go check them out. They support us. They've been amazing to work with. And the app is really good. So I'm happy to recommend it. And yeah, thanks for coming by. Always appreciate it. Hit the like if you liked it. I guess fucking hate saying that. Makes my skin crawl. So I mean, probably not gonna say it again, but you're supposed to say it, and I'm a man that will follow what you're supposed to do, I guess. Oh, I hate it. But yeah, appreciate you guys coming by, and it's been fun. We'll see each other on the Friday show with Cred and me. And yeah, till then, hope the merge doesn't take us to zero or like fails. I don't think it will. Probably gonna be somewhat okay, but like I said, S&P is the main driver still, sadly. So there you go. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.